Thank you very much. So, the Honorable Minister for Education, Heritage and Arts and Local Government, Madam Premila Devi Kumar, Principal of Richmond Methodist High School, Mr. Solomoni Seruitamana, parents, teachers, and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Bulabinaka, and very good morning to you all. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Education and Richmond Methodist High School for your hospitality, the warm welcome, and beautiful songs extended to us today. On behalf of the government and people of Japan, it's my honor to hand over a newly constructed and finished and furnished 3-classroom building with 2 7-cubic toilet facilities to Richmond Methodist High School. The government of Japan provided funding worth 607,000 Fijian dollars for this project, which is implemented through its Grassroots grant assistance scheme. In 2019, Tropical Cyclone Harold severely damaged the schools on Kadavu Island. This devastation occurred while the recovery and reconstruction from TC Kenny was still underway. In the aftermath of TC Harold, the Honorable Prime Minister Bainimarama surveyed the devastation in Kadavu. After that, the Prime Minister's office requested the government of Japan for assistance in the restoration of all 3 secondary schools in Kadavu, with the other 2 schools being Kadavu Provincial and Municipal Secondary. In recognizing the difficulties faced by the people of Kadavu and in responding to the request from assistance from the Prime Minister's office, the government of Japan decided to provide this grassroots grant assistance. I sympathize with the people of Kadavu as they have had to face the brunt of severe cyclones in quick succession, in addition to the hardship and loss of livelihoods brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. I respect your resilience against such difficulties. Today, with the handing over of the new facilities, I'm pleased to say that we have been able to provide assistance in addressing the difficulties faced by Richmond Methodist High School and its community. The new facilities will be crucial in delivering quality education to the student. It is further reassuring to see that the new building is built to such standards which will enable it to serve the community as an evacuation center during emergencies and natural disasters. I'm happy to say that since 1990, Japan has implemented 415 projects through its Grassroots grant assistance scheme, with a total value exceeding 31 million US dollars. Out of the 415 projects, 234 were implemented in the economic sector. Ladies and gentlemen, since the beginning of 2020, the whole world has been tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. Fiji has become one of the most vaccinated societies in the world and opened its borders on December 1st last year. Following this measure, Fiji significantly eased the restriction towards COVID-19 last month. Although the threat of the virus has not faded away, Fiji is one of the most successful countries in responding to the pandemic and recovering economic and social activities. I'd like to pay tribute to the leadership of the Fijian government and the efforts of the people for having made great achievements against the pandemic. I also would like to applaud the efforts of the Honorable Minister and her team on reopening the schools and ensuring that schools are safe for children during these trying times. The education sector is one of the largest sectors, and bringing it up to speed after a long closure in midst of a pandemic is not only an academic exercise, but a huge logistical and operational undertaking as well. Students, boys and girls, in facing this pandemic, which is a global crisis, education has become even more important now. The world needs new thinking, new ideas, better solutions, and innovations as humanity is facing increasing challenges. Through education, you will become future leaders and professionals of Fiji. Apart from ensuring your own success, your leadership and your skills will be needed by your country to strive ahead. This is why I encourage you all to work hard and try your best to succeed academically as well as in your co-curricular activities. I wish you all the best in your learning. I conclude with confidence that this project will further strengthen friendship between the governments and peoples of Japan and Fiji. Bina KAWAKAMI. Thank you very much.
I pay my deepest respect to the Vanua, especially to Turangatui Tavuki, Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Fiji, His Excellency KAWAKAMI Fumihiro, the head of school, Mr. Solomoni Ratuloaloa, distinguished representatives from the Embassy of Japan, PA Kadavu, senior officials from the government, and the senior officials based here in Kadavu, school management committee members, parents, guardians, students, ladies and gentlemen, Nisambula Vinaka, and a very good afternoon to you all. My sincere gratitude for the warm welcome accorded to both of us, to me as well as to His Excellency and the delegation that came from Suva. Now, since we arrived this morning in Vunisea, we were at Vunisea Secondary and now in Richmond Methodist, we have received very warm welcome from the officials and the people of this island. Clearly shows the friendliness that is displayed by the people living in Kadavu. I'm extremely delighted to join His Excellency Fumihiro-san to officially commission and hand over the new classrooms and ablution blocks that have been funded by the Japanese government and the people of Japan. I wish to acknowledge the government and the people of Japan for the unwavering commitment and support which has enabled Fiji-Japan collaboration to progress steadily over the years. The funding provided for this venture at Richmond Methodist High School is yet another example of the contributions the government of Japan has made in our people and in our country. Government of Japan has also assisted generously over the past 2 years when we faced the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change is a sad reality that we in the small island nation have to endure regularly. Over time, it will get more severe and frequent. And we have seen how the recent tsunami in Tongan waters has caused scary reality of the vulnerability that we in the islands face. Tropical cyclones and flooding events have damaged school buildings and teaching resources in the order of several $100 million in replacement value. During tropical cyclones, you all know schools are used as evacuation centers, and there are almost over 300 schools which are designated as evacuation centers in Fiji. So it is also important that schools are built to withstand adverse weather conditions so that families who take shelter in these buildings are safe. In 2019, TC Herald had seriously affected several schools around the nation, and Richmond Methodist High School was one of them. The cost of damages to the school buildings, classrooms, ablution blocks, teachers' quarters was more than $1.2 million. And I can see that the work has not been completed yet. Upon assessing the damages incurred by TC Herald, as you have heard from the Honorable, by the Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister sought assistance from the Embassy of Japan for the restoration of facilities at Richmond Methodist High School. I'm grateful to the Embassy of Japan for making this possible. The result of the rehabilitation work can be seen in the form of 3 new concrete classrooms and 2 ablution blocks. Ladies and gentlemen, Government of Japan has always been supporting grassroots projects in Fiji. The commemoration of more than 50 years of Fiji-Japan relationship is a milestone achievement for the two nations, and it is a testament of its unprecedented cooperation and great friendship. I was informed that this project at Richmond Methodist High School began during the peak of the pandemic, and obviously during pandemic there were so many restrictions placed, and the project did suffer in terms of delivering on the deadline. However, we all should be grateful to Chan's Maintenance and Renovation Works for completing this project, and today we will be handing over this project to the School Management Committee and the people residing in Richmond. The improved facilities and better infrastructure, such as new classroom, ablution block, teaching resources, it simply creates a better learning and teaching environment for teachers and students. I'm urging students and teachers to take care of the facilities so that future students can benefit from the facilities as well. We have seen that around the country, most schools, they do not have the school management plan. School management plan and school maintenance plan is extremely, extremely important. We must have a school maintenance plan so that the head of school will be able to budget, and he or she can propose the area that needs attention for that particular year. You already know that the free education grant provided by the government does have a special allocation for building and maintenance. So I will expect the head of school and the school management committee to come up with a maintenance plan, and please continue maintaining the buildings. I'm also requesting the head of schools to come up with a disaster management plan if you don't have one. Please develop one as soon as you can, because that will guide you in securing teaching and learning resources that you have in the school. And once it is known to each and every teacher and the students, then you'll be able to keep these items safely when the cyclones approach. The Fijian government is committed towards the education of our children, and it is near $1 billion annual budget that is set aside is an evidence to show the level of commitment we have. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that tomorrow there will be a mini budget. Mini budget will be announced in the evening, and Prime Minister has assured to the people, to all Fijians, that the education budget will remain same. There will be no deduction to the education budget. So it's a relief to me as a Minister for Education, but also a relief to the School Management Committee, plus the students, parents, as well as teachers. Isn't it? If there is a deduction in the budget, maybe, there can be deduction in other allocations that we provide to the schools. But the fact the announcement PM has assured that this will not happen, it gives us the sense of security that we needed in the education sector. The Fiji First government has always given education a high priority because we believe that the road to prosperity and sustainable development is through education. And the government is providing many things for the people. For example, the free education grant. This ensures that financial burden is taken away from parents and school management committees. If you talk to the school management committees and if you talk to the teachers, they'll tell you that in the past, fundraising activities used to take place to raise money just to meet the basic needs of the school. But no more now. You're not engaged in all these activities. The government also provides transport assistance, whether it's bus fare, whether it's RSL fares, whether it's boat fares. All these are paid to increase accessibility to schools. We don't want our children living in maritime areas and rural areas, they are denied education because of the transport issues. Right, and also providing relief to the parents that they don't have to fork out money from their pocket for the transportation of children. Free textbooks, again, I reflect having 3 children of my own. When the school reopening used to be announced, then as the mother, I had to rush to the bookshops, crowded bookshops, trying to find all the textbooks that I can for my children, and then bringing it home, covering those textbooks. Sometimes the books were not available, and sometimes the books were so expensive, like you have to pay $80, $90, or even over $100 just for one textbook, and it was extremely difficult. And that's when some of the schools came up with a loan scheme. They call it the hiring fee. So you pay a fee for the year, and you are given the books to use, and after that you have to return the textbooks and get your refund. Right, so that was the plan then. But we don't have that anymore. We are making all these resources for you, for our children, for your future. In time to come, our plan is to have all these textbooks electronically. Right, so we have to move towards the digital era. We need to accept the digital world that we live in, and also accept the fact that our children do well and they love digital technologies. Right, you ask any child, they're quite excited when they see computers, they see mobile phones, they see games. Am I right? So these are the technologies they are growing with. And if our children are growing with all these technologies and they have this innate knowledge, without teaching them, they know how to operate these technologies, then who are you and I to stop them using these technologies to learn? Right, rest of the world is moving towards e-library. In other words, in your library, you don't really have the books. You do have the books for those who want to read, but you also have facilities where children can access library from home, from school, from wherever they are. And they can also read online. But I do understand that in remote and rural areas, sometimes you have many other challenges. You have challenges such as poor internet connection, or you may have electricity issue. But again, we can deal with those challenges. Right? If you go to the MEHA website, there is a learning hub. And Learning Hub has all the e-learning resources that the teachers can use. And if we provide this material on a flash drive, then the teachers can use that flash drive on smart television and show it to the children, provided you have electricity. right? And I'm sure, do you have electricity in this area? Generator, yes. So those provisions can be made, and our children should not be denied from using these technologies and be on the same level as children studying in any urban school or anywhere else in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, the government also provides the tertiary scholarships and loan provisions. And this has enabled many children's dream come true. We have now allocated about 5,000 places for TVET courses at FNU. So those children who want to branch out into TVET courses, the FNU is providing 5,000 spots, and you can always apply. I want to emphasize, and since the parents are seated here, and I think I should take this opportunity to talk about our education system. In our education system, over the years, the education system is too academic oriented. In other words, we are preparing our children as if all of them will go to university. All of them will get a degree. We are not preparing our children based on their interest, based on their talents. If somebody wants to become a rugby player, why not? If somebody wants to become a musician, why not? If somebody wants to become a dancer, we should encourage all that, because all these areas can give the financial satisfaction to the person, and he or she can progress in life. Right? A good example would be in our community, for any nation for that matter, we need all kinds of professions. We need plumbers, we need builders, we need electricians, we need hairdressers, we need beauticians, we need musicians, we need everyone. We don't only need lawyers, doctors, teachers, engineers. We need a mix of profession. And our education system should provide that. But we have seen that within the community, and it has not really changed to great extent, that we all prefer our children to take the academic line, and they all to become either doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers, and so forth, accountants. But if we just keep on doing that, then how are we going to balance it out? Because the economy also needs different profession. Imagine when you're having your own wedding, who do you need? You need a seamstress who can stitch your clothes. Am I right? You also need beautician. Right? You need a cook. You need all these things. So we need to ensure that we, as teachers, we try and encourage our children to be who they want to be, and not be someone that someone else's want them to be. So each one of us are different. We are born differently. We have got different intellectual capacity, and it's up to us to make that decision. And I would like to encourage parents that you allow this to your children, because then they will do better in life. I mean, the other day I was watching FBC, and under Successful Fijian, I saw this gentleman from Fiji going to Korea, and he was singing in one of the Korean, competition. And he won the competition. And you know which song he sang? Isalay. Right. So he sang Isalay, and the chorus provided to the song were provided by the Koreans. And he won the competition. So we should not narrow our thinking. We should not narrow the development, the potential that our children have. We need to allow that space for our children to be who they want. So you can see the above initiatives that I have mentioned earlier is to ensure there is no disparities in terms of education accessibility and quality. We provide same amount of free education grant to a school, whether in Kadavu, whether in Suva, whether in Nosori, or in the Western Division. And the free education grant is based on the size of the school. So there is no disparity, absolutely no disparity. And similarly, the Ministry of Education, we provide the teachers. We pay for the teachers. We also provide the curriculum. So gone are the days when there were a lot of comparison between schools, and we created this hierarchy. And we said to ourselves that, if our children go to these schools, then my child will do well. In fact, that is not the case anymore. We have seen when the year 13 results came out, their schools in the maritime and rural areas, they did very well. Right? They did very well. So there should never be such comparison. Now, our education investment, the main reason why we have invested in the education sector in a very big sum is to encourage our children to go back to school and to eliminate cost as a barrier to education, because there were times when parents would not send their children because they didn't have school fees. They couldn't pay the school fees. I don't know, but I would like to share this with you, particularly to our young children seated here. Some of you don't know this because for you, the government is paying the school fees, so you don't know about school fees, right? Your bus fare is paid for. During my time when I was in school, we are 7 in the family. I'm the eldest child. My parents had to take out school fees for 7 children. So term 1, 7 children. They have to take it, raise that money and put that money aside so that they can send us to school. Similarly, every morning they had to give us the bus fares. And the day you don't have bus fares, you can't go to school. These were the difficulties we had to encounter. But today we don't have to face this problem. And we also saw, while studying in school, that those children who could not pay their school fees, the head teacher will come and call those students in front and announce in the assembly that these children have not paid their school fees and therefore you have to go home. And go home and get your parents. We want to know why they have not paid the school fees. And, it was such a trauma for the little kids standing in front of the whole assembly and being ridiculed that you can't pay your school fees. So you can see you don't have all that. So the only request we are making, that you study, you make your dreams come true. And from the rate of return that we are looking for is just a couple of things. First, we want our students, when they come out of the school system, they become a good citizen. They become good neighbors. They become a good family member. We also want our children, when they come out of the school, they'll be able to improve their quality of their life. They can also improve the quality of life for their family. And finally, you'll be able to contribute to the nation building. These are the 3 outcomes we are looking for. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we strongly believe education is a partnership, and we are asking parents to support their children in their education journey. Parents can ensure that their children's attendance to school is regular. And I'm also requesting parents to spend more time with your children, and you can also assist with their homework and their home studies. And I thank the parents, those parents who decided to send their children to school when we reopened the schools last year. Remember, year 12 and 13 started around November, and then the rest of the school children started in the January of this year. And it was a very difficult decision to reopen the schools, because we knew that while teachers and ancillary staff and the school management committees were all fully vaccinated, but all our children were not vaccinated. So we had left that choice to the parents. And every week we were taking school attendance throughout Fiji, and we saw that a lot more parents were sending their children to school because they understood the value for education. And even if you ask our children, they will tell you that they prefer being in school than being home. Am I right? You want to be in school or at home? So it worked out very well for us that our children are back in school and they are with their friends. They have this little time with their friends for their mental and social development. When they are in the school, they learn from the teachers. It helps them to overcome some of their own personal problems they may be facing at home. Because not all children come from a well-to-do family or from a family that is child-centered. Sometimes we see that in a family there are disputes and the children suffer because of the domestic violence or gender-based violence. But if a child continues to stay in that kind of environment, they face a lot of mental trauma. But if they're in the school, at least they have an outlet. They can talk to the teachers. They can talk to the students. I mean, to their friends. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have already heard that Year 13 results are out, and the percentage pass rate is 70%. And some of our rural schools, as I mentioned earlier on, such as Duawata Secondary, Balata High School, Yasayasa Moala College, Lomawai Secondary School, Tavuki South Secondary, and Navesau Adventist High School have outperformed urban schools that are well resourced. So it's a very good sign. In other words, it simply means that our strategy of equal resourcing and bringing schools, whether it's in maritime, rural, or urban, on the same level is helping. And we have also seen that more and more of our children are going to schools. So I sincerely thank you all for sending your children to school. For our teachers, I wish I have a little bit more time so that I could have had one-to-one discussion with our teachers, and I'll see if I can find that time. So I will leave it to the PA Kadavu and my team to see if I can get little time with my teachers so that I can talk about some of the changes that's taking place and some of the reforms that we are bringing in. But for the teachers, I sincerely would like to thank you and pay my tribute to you all for the good work you have done over a period of time. This COVID pandemic has never been easy, not on you, not on our children, and not to anyone else. It was a difficult time for all of us, but you continued teaching, you continued with the worksheet, you continued to be in touch with the students, and I appreciate that. I also know there were some teachers who did not report to school on time, right? And you were based in Suva. Some of you were still based in Suva. Now, whatever the situation is, but the point is that you need to cover your syllabus, which you must have done. You must have done the internal assessment for the next year, and we appreciate that for the work that you are doing. Similarly, I want to thank the School Management Committee. It is because of your foresight as well as your hard work through which you established this school. And I'm sure the past and the former and the current School Management Committee members understand the pain and suffering they must have gone through in raising these funds to build this school. So I pay my deepest respect to the past and the current School Management Committee for doing what you have done, and you continue to take this school to another level. And finally, we will be closing our school. We'll be closing year 2021. In other words, we're going to shut the door and we're going to open a new door, which will be year 2022, which is the new school year. And the new school year will start on 11th of April. So when you come to school on 11th of April, you won't be sitting in the same classroom. you'll be moving up the ladder. So you'll be going to the next level. Right. So during this school break, which we are only giving you 1 week break, and it's justified because, as I said, the schools were closed for 8 months, and most of the students were at home, and the teachers were also at home, working from home. So in that situation, it's justified that you're given 1 week because we have to do the catch-up, and we have to start off with year 2022. So ladies and gentlemen, finally, I would like to once again thank His Excellency for providing assistance to Richmond Methodist High School and the government of Japan as well as people of Japan. And today we're going to hand over these new classrooms and the new Ablution block to the school management committee. And from here onwards, you have to make sure that you maintain the school and you take charge of it. Thank you very much. Vinakavakalevu.
Koto na te una